Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the board, I would like to welcome you all to the Hydrix Limited 2021 Virtual Annual General Meeting. My name is Gavin Coote, Executive Chairman of the Board of Hydrix Limited. Allow me to begin by introducing my fellow directors. We have Julie King, Non-Executive Director. We have Paul Wright, Non-Executive Director. Joanne Bryant, Non-Executive Director. Online, Mr. Paul Lewis, Non-Executive Director. Mark Langham, Financial Controller. And Aileen Tai, Company Secretary. Also on the line today are the company's auditors, Grant Thornton, represented by Adam Pitts. I also welcome Stacey Spence, representative of the company's share registry boardroom. It is past 11:30 and the company secretary advises me that a quorum is present. I now declare the meeting open. Before we move on to the formal business of today's meeting, I would like to address shareholders in relation to the company's progress in 2021 and our objectives going forward. A copy of my address to shareholders has been lodged with the ASX and will be published on the company's website. So I'd like to first start by recapping our strategy and last year's achievements and provide an update on progress so far this year and the outlook for the year ahead, and describe how this all helps us achieve our vision to improve 1 billion lives and build a global medtech company. To achieve our vision and become a global medtech company, we are building on 20 years of medtech product innovation. We are investing in early stage, high potential medical device companies. And we're in the process of setting up a distribution business to sell high growth medtech products. Our focus is on technologies that will improve management of cardiovascular disease. Cardiovascular disease afflicts 14% of the global population, is the leading cause of death, and is predicted to result in $70 billion of annual spending on devices by 2027. This creates a very large and growing market opportunity for Hydrix. Over the past decade, Hydrix has been at the forefront developing critical technology for clients who are building total artificial hearts and heart pump devices. To this end, Hydrix was recently recognised with an International Good Design Award for our Ludo platform being used by clients developing these sorts of heart devices. To capitalise on this market opportunity, we aim to have 3 or more devices in market in 2025, producing revenue of $50 million. Meeting this objective will significantly reshape revenue mix and drive Hydrix growth prospects. In terms of realising this objective, the 2 cardiac products under our exclusive distribution are unique and disruptive technologies that aim to solve unmet market needs. The Guardian, for example, is the only product of its kind and is at the forefront in real-time emergency cardiac event telemedicine. AngelMed received FDA approval in June this year and recently commenced commercial sales in the US. We expect to commence commercial sales of the Guardian in Southeast Asia in calendar year 2022 as regulatory approvals are granted. We are also exploring opportunities to acquire and develop additional medtech products and expand beyond third-party distribution arrangements. So Hydrix is fast emerging as a global medtech company. In terms of advancing our global strategy, during the year we recruited senior sales and business development staff in the US, Europe and Australia and appointed Mr. Paul Lewis to the board. Our 4 International Good Design Awards reflect market recognition that we are already at the leading edge of technology development. And our first successful sales and implants of the AngelMed Guardian in Singapore last year was a major global milestone. And year to date, we've submitted regulatory applications to 5 Southeast Asia authorities, including Australia. The outlook for calendar year 2022 is positive. The services business has a healthy pipeline. Year-to-date revenue growth is trending at plus 40%, and an increasing percentage of that is coming from outside Australia, which is leading to an improving bottom line. We expect to begin receiving AGM regulatory approvals throughout Southeast Asia and to commence commercial sales. The valuation of our ventures portfolio is expected to increase, and this may be at levels that suggest returns in the next few years will be greater than our current market capitalisation. So we have a bold and aspirational vision and objective. In terms of building a global medtech company, we have a highly talented and well-led workforce, and the business is in good hands. So in closing, I hope you feel connected to our vision and have a clear picture that our progress demonstrates that we are well underway with our strategy to build a global medtech company. We are confident that top-line revenue growth will improve the bottom line in calendar year 2022 and of achieving our goals to keep us on track with our 2025 growth objectives. I will now hand over to Paul to address the meeting and provide a brief introduction. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Gavin, and I hope everyone can hear me. So first, let me note I'm delighted to have the opportunity to address you today. And specifically, I would like to do 2 things. First, to provide an overview of my background, and second, why I accepted the very kind invitation to join the Hydrix board. So I grew up in a town called Brighton, often known as London by the Sea. And my first 25 years were in the early days of IT, and I mean early. The first computer I ever programmed had 964 bytes of memory. No M's, no B's, just bytes. 10 of those years were with Mobil Oil Corporation, at that time IBM's 5th largest customer worldwide. Progressing from systems analysis to applications manager and ultimately head of IT infrastructure for Europe, I was lucky enough to live in the UK, Rome and Athens, and worked extensively in Germany, the Netherlands and Scandinavia. Mobil was followed by 10 years at ICL, the UK's largest computer manufacturer at that time, with roles in Melbourne, Adelaide and eventually Sydney as COO with 1,000 staff. Fujitsu acquired ICL and I was released. It was the only career decision I did not make, and I describe it as by far the best one because I have owned equity in most places ever since. That was followed by 23 years with PA Consulting Group, initially responsible for all IT industry services in Australia and New Zealand, before moving to Hong Kong for 12 years as managing partner for Asia, with offices in 5 countries. PA has technology practices very similar to Hydrix, although I was not involved in that area very often. Returning to Australia at normal retirement age, I soon decided that I wanted to keep busy, primarily helping small companies or startups, rather than being a box ticker for larger listed companies. So various roles have included British Telecom Global Advisory Board, Chair of NAB Private Bank Advisory Board, a founding director of Magellan Financial, which I stood down from after close to 15 years a couple of months ago, Chair at Optal Financial, which is a Melbourne-based travel payments company with very successful outcomes, and current roles include Chair of IPscape, NED at Volt, which is the neobank, Grassroots and now Hydrix. And on the not-for-profit side, they include Cure Cancer, Tobacco Free, the GWS Foundation, which I chair, and the Australia-British Chamber, where I'm deputy chair for the last 12 years. So why have I joined the Hydrix board? I first met John King via NAB. John had me a bit intrigued by the similarity to the PA technology practices. John was keen I joined the Hydrix board at that time, but I had too many commitments. I then became a shareholder and got a little more engaged. I'm now absolutely convinced that under Gavin's leadership and direction, Hydrix is fast tracking from being just an R&D company to a significant product distribution company with relatively uniquely a world acknowledged R&D company underpinning that technical capability. And when I say world acknowledged, I mean as evidenced by the increasing proportion of revenue that comes from outside Australia. This will provide a huge opportunity for growth. With Angel, Med and Physion, that journey is well underway, and I am delighted to have the opportunity to contribute. Thank you.
Gavin, we have received one question from a shareholder prior to the meeting, and it is as follows. I invested in Hydrix because on paper it appeared to be a highly innovative Australian company developing and bringing to market outstanding devices. Why is this not being reflected in its results, and what has been done about this?
Thanks for the question from the shareholders. I think what you've heard today is that Hydrix is actually, with all of the recent International Good Design Awards, clearly we've been recognised globally for being on the leading edge of technology development. We're doing that for clients, and we invest in some of these clients, and we're holding a portfolio of investments which includes public companies such as Memphis, and you will have seen recently a growth in their company's valuation, and several of the other clients that we're also investors in, private companies whose valuations are certainly on the rise. And as I mentioned earlier, in the next few years, we anticipate the value of those venture investments could actually exceed the current valuation of our company. So in terms of our product innovation capabilities, we're clearly well recognised, and what we're trying to do now is add that extra plank of revenue and growth through owning our own product technologies and also working with other companies to distribute their products. And where we can add more value than just be a usual distributor, we're actually working with some of those companies to advance their products, which ultimately helps our go-to-market strategy around growing our product revenues. I've also alluded to the fact that we've got two of our goal is to have three or more products in market by 2025, generating more than $50 million of revenue. We've got two of those products. We're working with those clients. We're also actively exploring opportunities to acquire and develop more technologies that we will be able to generate product revenues from in the future. And with that growth in revenues, we expect that will be able to improve our bottom line results and ultimately increase the returns to our shareholders.
Thank you, Gavin. We've just received another question. Is the company working on any strategies to improve liquidity and volatility of the stock price, for example, broker coverage or awareness?
Thanks for the question there. We do have an active investor relations engagement program. We use an external advisor to help us broadcast our message out to various media outlets. We are engaged with our corporate advisors to continue to keep them up to date, as we do with all of our investor presentation material. We report quarterly around the results of the company, and today, again, another opportunity to talk to all of our investors and prospective investors what we see is a terrific growth strategy that we've laid out for you. With respect to volatility of the share price, I don't know that we have a magic or a silver bullet to resolve all of that. We are very focused on controlling the things that we can control. Internally, the drumbeat, if you will, around the work ethic and the intensity at which we're pursuing the vision of improving a billion lives and building a global medtech company is relentless in a very positive way. The highly talented workforce are committed to that strategy and engaged with that strategy. And we think over time, we're going to be able to continue to build a really loyal and committed investor base. And we do have a really solid cornerstone group in our investor base that over time, we hope to really, with their patience, reward them with strong, sizable returns in the future. I think we painted a picture in 2022. These milestones that we've talked about, what we've achieved in the past year, what we're focused on in the year ahead, they demonstrate, as I said earlier, that we're well underway with executing our strategy around becoming a global medtech company. And I think it's an interesting question. At a roughly $20 million market cap, if you look at the size of our services business, if you look at the prospective valuation returns and gains on our ventures portfolio, and the uniqueness and the size of the market opportunity around the cardiovascular devices, we think there's plenty of upside that over time will help strengthen the performance of the share price. And our alignment internally around our compensation structures are really well aligned with the shareholders' interests.
No further questions, Esther.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your attendance today. Voting is now closed. Rather than keep you all waiting for the result, I propose to close the meeting at this point. The results of the poll will be notified to the ASX and published on the Hydrix's website following the meeting. And as that concludes the business of the meeting, I thank the members for their attendance and now declare the meeting closed.